Hey guys, second video here. I've decided I'm going to change the rocker panel here on the passenger side. When I bought the truck, it came with some parts, and one of them that's included is this aftermarket rocker panel from an LMC truck. So I'm going to take, first I'll probably take the door off, and I do have the inner rocker panels. I'm not sure whether this side's going to need it or not, so we'll see.
Hey, man on the left, man on the right, man, it's a matter of the middle. Take a good look, take a side step, make your brain up to the riddle. All of your mind, both of your ears, take a hard listen to the rebel. Rebel, 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 revolution.
That's not what I wanted. As you guys probably know, it's my first time doing this. I think I am probably going to have to replace the inner panel. It's okay because I had one in the box. So I'm kind of figuring out how this all goes together here. The inner panel, inner rocker panel sits like this, like that, and then this lip is rolled around it. So I'm trying to kind of figure out how to take this thing off. There's a couple bolts on the undercarriage. I'm assuming they go through there. So I'm going to unscrew those and hopefully the panel will come off. So unfortunately one of the bolts down there sheared off, so that sucks. But it looks like I'm going to save myself a lot of work if I take this fender off. I'm not going to put that in the video, but it's going to allow me to get in here a lot better. Alright, my guess is that there's some pinch welds or spot welds hidden under this, so I'm just going to grind this down and see if I can figure out exactly how it's attached. So to ground this down, I can see where some of the spot welds are, so I'm going to try and drill through those and see if it'll loosen it up a bit. And about 45 minutes later, that was absolutely terrible. That was not fun. So this is the outer rocker panel here. This is the inner rocker panel. Fortunately, I have both of them because I'm going to need them both. In order to get this off, there's a ton of spot welds everywhere along this thing. Fortunately, or unfortunately, so much of it was rusted out, I didn't have to get all of them. Then you have to unroll the lip here on the bottom, and there's spot welds all along to the inner rocker panel. I got tired of pulling those and just opening it up and busting them out with a chisel, so this will be interesting. Also, this pillar here is kind of corroded away, so I'm going to have to build a little patch panel for that. Down here I think is alright, it's just this corner section. From the factory, the inner rocker panel is actually just molded part of the floorboard, so it'd be virtually impossible to get inside of there and cut all of it out in there behind the pillar without cutting the pillars off. And I don't want to do that, and I don't need to because it's pretty solid from here out. So I'm just going to mark, I'm only going to use a part of this patch panel essentially. I'm probably just going to mark it from back here to here and cut this out and weld this one on.
Both of your ears, take a hard listen to the rebel. Rebel, 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 revolution. Floating in the sky, wondering why, shooting down electrical lightning. And up from above, God's of love, telling me that life ain't simple. They're telling me, son, walk your road. You got a whole lot of loving going on. Yeah, yeah, you got a whole lot of loving going on.
The panels don't come, been told they're not always 100% exact, and that is totally the case here. If I could either line it up by the top and cut all of this off because it sticks out too far, or I can line it up the bottom and put a little filler in there, which shouldn't be a problem because this is going to sit over that so you won't see it anyway. So I'm just going to tack it in place right now. this tacked in place here. I'm going to call it a night before it gets dark. I'm just going to, before I totally weld this in place tomorrow, this is the perfect opportunity to set the outer rocker panel in place and to button up the truck for the night. I'm going to throw the door on there and make sure that it closes. All right. Cool. Alright, so I've got this the inner rocker panel welded up. I'm just going to grind down the welds and make it all pretty. I have all this where I want it. Since I lined this inner rocker panel up with the bottom, there's this gap on both sides, so I cut out some little patch panels out of 20 gauge sheet metal. I'm going to weld those in place and grind them smooth as well. Alright, good news and bad news. Good news, the inner rocker is installed. Bad news, this pillar is pretty much shot in this section here, so I'm going to, you can buy these, I think they're 35 bucks, but I have the unfortunate condition of being cheap and impatient, so I'm going to fab up some panels myself. Even worse, inside the kick panel here, when I was fitting it, I put a clamp on there and it went right through this kick panel, so I'm probably going to try and weld up a patch panel in there as well. Alright, I guess I'll include some of the highlights from what I'm doing here just in case anybody has the same problem. So this faceplate actually seems alright, so what I did is went down the sides of it so that I can just reform this side and weld it in place. This will also allow me to get all of this nasty old dirt that's accumulated in here out. What happens is dirt and other stuff gets down in here and then it collects the water and the water doesn't drain and it rusts everything out. And so here's the tricky part on the kick panel. I cut it out. This is how the original piece. What's tricky is this radius in here. It looks like it's kind of bent down and then it curves around. So I have an idea. We'll see if it works out. Well, that turned out a lot better than I expected. It's a little, what I cut in the board was a little bit high, but it's pretty close. I'm just gonna fill that in with weld. So I think that's actually gonna work out all right. All right, it looks nastier on the camera than it does in actuality. I'm gonna call that good for now. I'll get around to this when I have the patience, but I want to get this thing buttoned up. I'll come back in here with a Dremel and smooth all of this and make it nice at some point, but not today. Alright, I've got the back side of this plate welded in. Since it curves in, I just weld to the back and I'm just gonna... So I hammered it over, cut it down, ground it flush. Now I'm gonna tack everything in place, weld it up. Before I did this, I did throw the outer rocker panel on to make sure that it fit, so recommend doing that before you do what I'm about to do here. I have this plate welded on here. I'm going to probably just tack the outer rocker panel in place, double check, put the door on, make sure everything lines up, and if it does, I'll take the door back off, weld everything up, and should be done. Alright, got everything tacked in place, so make sure it's shut. Looks like it lines up pretty well. I'm going to put a few more tacks in it. I'm not going to weld it continuously all the way through because I'm going to wait until I put the new door on it to do that, just in case I have to tweak it to get it to line up perfect. So I'm just probably gonna put 2 or 3 more tack welds in it and call it good for now until I do the door.